But what we've decided to do is get Aaron a T-shirt. You've seen the guy on the internet. He sits at a table and he's out on a college campus and it says blah, 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 whatever his topic happens to be, change my mind. So we're going to get a shirt for Aaron that says the bond issue sucks, change my mind. So I guess you and Aaron can start right there. She's about a 90% no and a 10% chance of yes. Can you change your mind?
I absolutely can. Matter of fact, I'd love to invite her to go walk through the three fire stations scheduled to be rebuilt and show her the conditions of the fire stations and what our firefighters are having to work in and stay in 24/7, 365. I'd love to invite her out to our maintenance shop and see our trucks and the age of our fleet and what our maintenance guys are having to do to keep them up and running, to keep providing the service that we have, and all the other fire stations, and show her exactly what the renovations will be to each fire station. We have that actually listed on the bond.shreveportla.gov website in the PowerPoint, and you'll see exactly what is scheduled to be renovated at every fire station and the exact amount of money that we invested into it.
One of the selling points, and I don't mean that in a negative way, one of the selling points of the bond issue from people in the pro camp are that you guys at the SFD, some of your fire trucks are how old? 30-plus years old? How many of those, what kind of condition are they in? How hard are they to keep up?
We had 3 fire trucks that are 30 years or older. Most of you've probably seen them. They're probably in service right now today as a reserve truck in some form or fashion at some fire station. They're the white fire trucks. We put new engines in them in the past. We have older white trucks out in our boneyard that we rob parts for to keep them up and running as reserves. And they've been good trucks. Matter of fact, all of our trucks have been good trucks. We spec a really good, solid fire truck, and that's why our citizens have got a great return on their prior investments in some of our bond packages with the longevity of what these trucks have provided. And that's what we intend to do with these new trucks that we'll buy with this bond, and we feel very confident our citizens are going to support us on that. We want to continue to provide them the best service that we can, and one of the best ways to provide that service is having dependable and good equipment to get those resources there that need to be there when they're called for help.
Chief, here we go. You ready?
Sure.
We were promised in the prior bond issue, you and I have talked about this already, a super station at the fairgrounds that was going to combine the 2 stations, the one on Greenwood Road and the one there at the fairgrounds. That's what voters were promised. That's not what was delivered, and now we know that's not going to be delivered. That's my issue with this. We promise things that are going to be delivered. How am I certain today that fire stations 11, 14, and 15 will really be done? You see where my problem is?
Really, no, I don't, Aaron. The Station 814 Superstation was an idea that was brought about in the 2011 bond presentation by Chief Crawford. It was an innovative idea. It was an idea to combine 2 fire stations to provide a service. There was some now in the bond language, if you go back and read the bond language, it says to replace 2 fire stations. Station 814 would have replaced 2 fire stations. However, when you got into the nuts and bolts of finalizing that project and really getting to all the final things that were required to make it happen, there was a lot of things that pointed it wasn't the best idea. Location was a big problem. We could not find a location for it to divide the 2 areas. The neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods take a lot of ownership in their neighborhood fire stations. To be honest with you, as a fire chief, I love to hear that from our citizens. I love to hear them say, that's my fire station. Station 14 is my fire station. Station 8 is my fire station. And they take a lot of ownership in that. So there was some neighborhoods that weren't real thrilled about losing their fire station that's in their localized neighborhood. And so there was things that came about that idea was not the best. And, if it proves not to be a good idea, the last thing we would want to do is waste our taxpayers' money on a bad idea. So as we moved into the 2011 bond, let me finish, Aaron.
Okay.
As we moved into the 2011 bond, Station 17 became a priority and Station 8 became a priority. Station 17 was actually when when Southern Hills was annexed into the city, we actually built a two-base engine room and hose tower and added it to a house that was over in that area off Southland Park Drive. And you can speak to several of our citizens and council members in that district that walked through old Station 17 and the deplorable condition that it was in. It had to be replaced for our firefighters. So we located property at 2901 Baird Road. We got a great price on the property. We built a very great fire station there that's going to serve the citizens for a long time. We're in the process of doing the same thing with Station 8. Actually, 14 was going to be replaced. We ran into some problems getting property for it to put it on. And during that time frame, Station 8 became more of a priority for replace. Station 8 was built in 1926. We had done about 4 renovations on it over almost that 100-year period, and it is a station that you just can't do anything else with. And now we put into place, we have the property to build the fire station. We're about to go to bid on that fire station here in probably just the next month or so. So I'm very excited. That's the final 2011 bond project. The money is set aside to replace that second fire station, which is exactly what the 2011 bond language said, was to replace 2 fire stations.
But Scott, the language that's fine, and I get that, and that's what this bond election will say too. But when the chief was trotted out, and this is not a reflection on you or the current administration, but when the chief was trotted out to pitch this to me, it was pitched to me as a voter of a superstation. That's my issue. This is trotted out to me as replacing stations 11, 14, and 15. What about afterwards y'all realize, we should replace this station rather than 14? Or you see what I mean? It really is where you're pitching it to me as one way, and then it gets changed later because of a better idea. Where I'm suspicious.
I really don't, Aaron. And if you go to the PowerPoint presentation, you'll see a slide in our presentation on the fire department. You'll see a complete history of bond projects going all the way back to the early 90s, where we have taken the resources that our citizens have voted on, and we've invested that into the fire stations. We've been great stewards of that money they've allowed us to use. And all of those stations are there. Those renovations are there. Fire trucks are there in the past. All those are there. Many of our older trucks that we have now that's 15 plus years older, they were bought on prior bond projects, bond proposals. So we've been good stewards of that. And, change is the only constant. Aaron, and as you move through and trying to provide the services that are demanded by our citizens and trying to provide them in the best way that you can, and also maintain Class 1 rating and all of those things all play into that decision making. And I think the fire department's made a lot of good decisions in building those Station 17 and now Station 8, and we will build 14, 15, and 11.
Chief Scott Wolverton, if your fire department items were one item by themselves on the ballot, I think you'd have me. I really do think you'd have me. The lumping of it all together is what I'm concerned about. I appreciate your time this morning, sir.
I appreciate you calling and letting me talk to you about it.
Thank you.
I hope I convince you. If you want that ride out and come see it with your own eyes, I'll be glad to take you around and show you.
I'm going to take you up on that.
She's got her own helmet. Let's not.
I hear there's good food at fire stations.
There absolutely is. And hey, we'll feed you a good meal too, Aaron.